We have reached the halfway point of the legislative session this year, Senator. It goes without saying pretty much this is not a standard year, not been a standard year. And legislatively, it's been probably one of the smallest in terms of production, in terms of numbers of bills passed. Safe to say that this has been, again, a unique, for lack of a better term, session this year.
It really has. And I am one for smaller government. And so not passing a bunch of bills is a good thing to me. However, the problem is more the infighting that we have had and the use of some of that pontificating to kill even good bills that both sides agree on. What you typically get is less bills passed because you have more contentious issues being debated, and that's fine. But this year is just a bit stranger, in my opinion. You have instead of being able to get the bills passed that are bipartisan and that we are all agreeing on, like the one that I'm working on this week and trying to get passed, and that's a bill aimed to help those who have been through sexual violence. And, I was on a task force for 9 or 10 months with people from all disciplines that deal with sexual violence, and the state troopers, we had prosecutors, we had judges, we had folks from the crime labs, we had sheriffs, we had police officers, and people from the victims' rights groups. We really put together a great list of items that needed to be fixed in statute so that we could have the best laws to protect the rights of our victims when they're going through the process, because many times someone won't go and prosecute because it's another traumatic phase of the abuse that they've already gone through. So there are bills like that, like this bill, that is bipartisan, that we have all sides agreeing on, but yet we have just a few members who are using those bills, the ones that are moving, the ones that are bipartisan and needed, everybody loves them, and you need to get them over the line this year. We have just a handful of senators who are using those to make their points, who are using those for their pontificating, who are using those bills to offer their amendments that are controversial so that they have time before the camera to talk about the issues that might make them sound more conservative than whoever it is they're running against.
On Senate Bill 775, that is putting into place, if I'm understanding things correctly, some things that may or may not already be in law, but right now I believe are being disputed in court.
Right. One of the parts of the bill is the Survivors' Bill of Rights, Sexual Assault Survivors' Bill of Rights. And that is where when you go to the authorities and report this, whether it's to the hospital or to the sheriff or to the police, then they give you this Bill of Rights. And it has things on there that are incredibly important. You need to know that you have access to an advocate for you. You need to know that if you're at the hospital getting a rape kit done, then they might keep your clothes for evidence. And in that case, instead of you walking out of there with the sheet and not having a shower, you have a right to a shower and some clothes, those type of things. And so the problem then becomes with that being challenged right now in court, not that particular piece of it, but some of the other parts of it to where we don't want all of that stricken. So one of the things that the task force said was we need to tighten this up so that we fix the parts that the courts are questioning, and we need to get this back in statute corrected so that if this does get struck down, we've already fixed it. We have already fixed it, and there's not a gap in the time frame of us having it struck down and us getting it fixed.
In addition to your news conference, you also took some time on the floor and took some time to talk with some of these senators as well about what's been happening this session.
Right. And that is one thing that I felt hasn't been done yet. So all this session so far, we've been chugging along, fighting with each other, having to go in the back, working through some things, coming back out. But then we wake up the next day and it's Groundhog's Day all over again. To me, it's like we have to do something different. If we continue doing the same thing, we're going to get the same results. So we have to do something different. So to me, having a press conference, a bipartisan press conference saying, look, there is just a few of you running all of the things that we are doing for our constituents and for the people of Missouri because of your tactics. So stop. Look, I never thought that they would say, oh, yes, ma'am, and move along and say, oh, gosh, let me start acting right. What I did hope comes out of this and do hope comes out of this is that between the media and the folks in the Capitol and just being called out in general, since that hasn't happened before, I've done it on the floor now multiple times over the past few weeks, and I will continue doing it. And so my hope is that up until this point, they've been able to be bullies, have these bad tactics that harm us all. And everyone has been so professional and just kept on trying to chug along, turn the other cheek. And I'm all for that until you realize that it's never going to change. And so to me, that's what I'm doing. I'm changing things. I'm going to start calling them out on their hypocrisy. Hopefully, they might get to stand up and do their pontificating, but they're going to have somebody else stand up and call them out on it.